Blechman on your left, Kid on your right. Both these players 6-0. Great starts for them. Esper Mentor versus 4-color control. Got a Syracuse fan on our left here, folks, it looks like. An Orangeman. As we are underway with a blue to Delta being sacrificed.
Now it's just the orange.
Is it just, yeah, you're right. It's just the Syracuse orange now?
I think it's just the orange.
Okay. Oh, that's fancy. That's a fancy underground sea. Here's a Deathrite Shaman. All right, someone likes Legacy. Foil sign Deathrite Shaman. Cataxian Probe. Let's see what else we're working with. Ooh. I see a Ponder, a Brainstorm, an Inquisition of Kozilek, a fancy Badlands, and a Wasteland. So oddly enough, this is really the first round where we've actually seen kind of the altars and everything, and someone who is definitely invested and loves Legacy here in Michael Kidd. This is one of the highlights for me about covering a Legacy tournament. People, they don't hold back. They bring out the goods.
Yeah.
Legacy tournament.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the charm of these formats is, you have your deck, and then it's good to go for forever. And if you find a strategy that you really like, you can invest over time, get all the altars and foils and betas and what have you.
It looks like Phil's got some altars too. There's a Marsh Flats. So he'll sacrifice that. And now this is a fatal push.
Your next draft pairings are being posted at the gallery.
With beautiful decks like this, it's clear that both of these gentlemen play a lot of Legacy. And they are playing it well thus far, as now there's an Altered Swamp. So we'll go over to Michael Kidd. There's the Badlands. Here's an Inquisition of Kozilek. Get an idea what Phil Blechman is working with. See a Baleful Strix, a Tropical Island, Source of Plowshares, a Spell Pierce, a Ponder, and a Cabal Therapy, and most of those cards are altered. Nice. I like it.
Well, this stuff goes a long way, though. So we're at the point where I can't actually tell what cards are in people's hands. The charm of the altars sort of loses its luster a little bit.
That's why I'm here. I'll keep track.
Okay.
Until I can't anymore. Look, I'd rather have this than the Expeditions. Okay?
Oh, that's not close. That's not even close.
I literally can't tell what cards those are still. And don't even think about bringing Invocation in here. You know, I just learned, like, earlier this week that there's a Hazoret Invocation.
Yeah.
Just didn't know. Because I never sees play. I just had no clue.
Yeah, that was one of the, that was a source of some comedy for a little while because the script on the card makes the name read differently in a way that's kind of comical.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
I'm not going to reveal it.
I had a feeling you weren't.
You really? You were that sure?
I actually was pretty sure, yeah.
Okay.
It felt like the way you're going, it's a thing you're going to have to do on your own time.
You're going to have to look that up yourself.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
The thing is, it's easy to look up. All you need to do is read the card, and you'll immediately
Perfect.
get the joke right away.
Perfect.
All right, so Belchman's about to be wastelanded out of this game. Back to the action.
No, he didn't play Wasteland.
So he must have, I mean, he missed a...
Maybe he didn't.
You know,
did he forget he had Wasteland? I don't know.
I don't know.
I am shocked he didn't Wasteland him.
You want to brainstorm that bad? Okay.
I'll sacrifice a fetch. There's a Trop. Maybe he's taking it easy on him. Maybe they're friends. Here's Baleful Strix. You're gonna have to move that above those lands, buddy. Tell you that much. Yank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. There are rules and regs here. There's a Baleful Strix. Well, now he gets to play.
Should have wastelanded him.
Here's an Underground Sea.
Well, you're going to show up to a Legacy event if you're
You're not going to wasteland someone?
Who missed, like some land drops and stuff? I don't know.
Here's Cabal Therapy. Ponder, Push, Toxic Deluge, and a Wasteland.
All right. Take his Ponder. And then Belchman, I believe, with Jason the Mind Sculptor, wrap it up from there.
He can still be wastelanded, man. Well, maybe.
It doesn't appear that he has the Jade. I'm surprised to not take the Ponder, just because you're going to be an information deficit for a lot of the high leverage reveals going forward.
Well, here is Ponder.
Who cares about Fatal Push. Who cares about Toxic Deluge, really? And past that, you're going to be working with very little information. So I think I would have preferred a Therapy flashback there. Also, Kid's hand stunk, so just take his cantrip and leave him with 2 removal spells and a 1/1 flyer.
Let's see what this is. Wasteland. Here's him.
Oh, yeah.
Force of Will removing Spell Pierce means that him gets countered, but him also kind of worked.
Yeah, that's a win. Wasteland him. Wasteland. Wasteland.
There we go. There you go. There you go. Take care of the drop.
Doesn't matter which one. Just whichever.
Just kill something.
Just kill something.
Put a Delta Pass. We're going to go back over to Michael Kidd. Do you think he ever gets called Michael Kidd Gilchrist?
Probably not.
No.
It's just not famous enough.
No. Here's a Ponder. That's all I can think of every time I say his name. Jace is in there. Another land, too.
Yeah, I'm keeping those.
And draw a card. See who comes next here for Kidd. Could just push that thing.
If he's going to push anyway.
He's going to hold. Well, no. Okay. He says, I'm going to attack. How about that? All right. They'll trade resources. Keep the push in hand. Blechman will just draw and immediately pass the turn back. Is the coast clear for Jace? He'd have to be a little surprised if it were, right?
Not really. I mean, he could have creature removal in his hand.
He's got a Spell Pierce for it is what he's got.
Cool.
Now I'll take care of Jace. Go back over to Phil now. Flooded Strand, pass the turn back. Go over to Michael. Michael will crack a fetch on his upkeep. Back and forth we go. I think these games are going to play out like this a lot. There's going to be a lot of exchanging of resources. I can't imagine any of these games are going to go quick unless Wastelands are involved.
Right. Or someone just gets to a fast chase.
Yeah.
That's the other.
Michael will pass the turn back. Let's go back over to Phil. He'll pass the turn back. Phil is not wasting any time here. Here's Deathrite Shaman. Push it. Blechman with Deathrite Shaman of his own. It's a nice altar. That's dead. Kidd with a land. And Jace playing around Spell Pierce this time. And it's in there.
That's game.
Yeah. 2 Brainstorms is probably all it'll take. Snapcaster Mage among those cards. Patrick has declared that it's game.
It's done.
He's
done.
declared that it's done and we are done. Draw. I think that was an unearth. I think I just saw.
He's got 1. So you can get back something that will be bounced or killed.
What's coming back here? Baleful Strix.
Yeah, he just needs to draw a card.
Oh, the value. And now Monastery Mentor. Time to sack some fetches.
So I guess the path here is you play the Mentor, you flash back the Therapy through the Strix, you name Toxic Deluge.
You hope it's in his hand.
And then you just...
You hope it's in their hand.
Right, and then you... I don't know. Hopefully that's enough. It's not, but hopefully it's enough.
There is Mentor. Therapy will be replaced. Well, Therapy will be recast from the graveyard. The Strix will be replaced by a Monk token. And the name with Therapy is Toxic Deluge.
And it was in the hand?
Yes.
All right, so you got a little something going.
So we play on. We play on. Its namesake card there for Phil is on the battlefield in Mentor. Kidd is going to sacrifice a fetch land right away because he knew at least one of the cards on top.
Yeah, it's a little surprising to leave the Toxic Deluge exposed like that because it's such a powerful insurance weapon against Belchman going wide against the Jace, and you know the Therapy's in the graveyard, so.
Now it's time to brainstorm. Force of Will, and didn't get a great look.
Well, if Kidd here doesn't have a removal spell for the Monastery Mentor, he is in a load of trouble. I just assumed that he was going to keep the Deluge covered as insurance.
I was thinking the same thing, partner. Is that a Snapcaster Mage? Well,
All right.
that'll work just fine.
Yeah, we're still fine.
Toxic Deluge.
This is a last call.
Pick a number, any number.
For the 5:30 Hubbard Turbo event.
All right, still
If you'd
game.
like to play in the
Okay, back to being game now?
Back to game.
Okay.
Please make your way to the sighted registration stage.
We're going to go back to Phil. Force of Will. Okay, now it is game. We're going to go activating Jace. It's the third activation. It's like it's going to face himself. Pass the turn back. Phil. That's a brainstorm. Nah. I like that force. Let's go back over to Michael. Draw. Brainstorm. 2, 3. Deathrite. Baleful Strix. Baleful Strix. Pretty good. Pretty good. Kid will put 2 cards back, of course. Just figuring out which 2 it'll be. There we are. And now here's Strix. And draw. Sacrifice Misty Rainforest. Search up a land. There's Deathrite. And Swords will take care of Deathrite.
And Kid not going to force that. Just wants the Force Will to cover some big play from Blechman. All these little exchanges don't matter when Kid is brainstorming every turn.
That is Snapcaster Mage. Yeah, that's not. Yeah, that's not going to resolve.
Yep, might as well.
See you later, 2-1. Force Will, Swords of Plowshares in hand there for Phil. Let's go back over to Michael Kidd, who gets to untap with an active Jace for another turn. When you get to do this, losing is very difficult, as most people will find out in Modern here soon. Here's a Brainstorm. 2 cards going to go back very, very quickly here for Kidd. There's an attack for 1. Baleful Strix feeling a little bit frisky. Big follow-up is a fetch. Put the top card of his deck onto the battlefield because he knew it was going to be a swamp, so he's going to fetch for that swamp. Shuffle the deck, clear the cards. Let's see what comes next. Snappy Snap.
Him. Leave him with nothing.
Yep. It's going to be. I think it's going to be just be a ponder. You maniac. Leave him with nothing. His hand is nothing. He can't cast anything that matters. Oh boy. Here's a ponder. Cabal Therapy, 2 fetch lands. It's going to be a quick shuffle here for Blechman.
So Blechman here, only 1 copy of Jace in the deck, which is realistically the only way to catch up from this sort of spot. So
5th land for Force. See if that counts for anything. Here's Ponderu. Hit 1 and 2 and 3. Brainstorm among them. This is a Jace game if I've ever seen one. It's been a while since I've covered just a Jace you can't win game. That's where we are. This is the fear that people have in Modern. If games can get like this, I know there's no Force of Will in Modern, obviously, but if games start to look like this in Modern, that means the dynamic has definitely changed. As Michael Kidd's going to win game number 1 here over Phil Blechman. 4-color control, or should we call it 4-color Jace control, wins game number 1 here over Esper Mentor.
Jace control is redundant.
Perhaps it is. Someone sent me a picture of the Hazoret.
A little muffled chuckle. Yes. It looks like someone just came across the image for Hazoret the Fervent.
Fervent. Is that what it says? I don't know, but we'll find out more after this message from our sponsors. We are back. Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan here in the booth. Nick Miller, of course, in the sideboard. Getting ready to watch game number 2 here from Worcester between Phil Blechman and Michael Kidd. As per Mentor, 4-color control, these two players checking in at 6-0. Winner of this one, you can lock in for day number 2. We'll start with Blechman and his sideboard of 3 Disenchant, 2 Flusterstorm, 2 Surgical Extraction, 2 Zealous Persecution, along with a Nile Spellbomb, a Tasker the Golden Fang, another copy of Unearth, Epiphany Needle, Hydroblast, and a Forest.
I would bring in, I think, the 1 copy of Nile Spellbomb and the 1 copy of Tassiker. Beyond that, I'm not really feeling a whole lot here. A lot of anti-graveyard stuff, a lot of anti-small creature stuff. I guess the 1 Unearth is basically free to bring in, but pretty light sideboarding here, I think.
Other side of things here for Kidd. 2 Pyroblast, 2 Flusterstorm, 2 Surgical Extraction, 2 Diabolic Edict. Here come the 1-ofs in Elemental Blast, Liliana the Last Hope, Thoughtseize, March Casualties, Sylvan Library, Nile Spellbomb, and Engineered Explosives. Actually somewhat similar sideboards here.
I like bringing the Sylvan Library, the Engineered Explosives as a solid answer to a Monastery Mentor or a number of tokens. And then some amount of the Red Blast, Pyroblast stuff, the, Liliana the Last Hope, the Thoughtseize, all pretty well suited for a game like this.
Well, it's going to be a grindy one. We know that. We saw Jace get the job done there for Michael Kidd last game. Perhaps Phil will have one this game. The Jace advantage, let's see where it leans. 2 for Michael.
1 over here.
Just 1 for Phil. So Michael very fortunate. His first one got countered the last game. Found his second Jace, and that ran away with things.
These players right now playing to lock up a spot in day 2 tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
With over 700 in the house, should be a tough cut, probably X2. Maybe X2-1.
And of course, tomorrow when we come back at 10 a.m. East Coast time, make sure you set your watches accordingly. We'll have a metagame breakdown for you. We'll cover 6 rounds, of course. We'll make a cut to the top 8 where you at home get to decide our quarterfinals matchup. And eventually someone's walking out of here, the DCU Center, with $5,000, 35 SCG points, and an invite to our Season 1 Invitational at SCGCon later this year from Berglund Center, Roanoke, Virginia. Looks like Phil going to take a mulligan. So see if he can find 6 cards that he is happy with. Monastery Mentor starting to make a name for itself over here in Legacy. I know a very popular vintage card. But in these Miracles builds that we do see, Monitoring Mentor, generally the card helping to get the job done and do it very quickly, mind you.
And I like playing that alongside Capal Therapy and Gataxian Probe. All those cards triangulate really nicely with one another.
Top card going to go to the bottom there for Blechman. We are underway. It'll be Gataxian Probe. Red Blast, Brainstorm, Nile Spellbomb, Tropical Island, Polluted Delta Bayou, and a Swamp. That's the hand here for Michael Kidd. Keeping this one, it feels like, based off of the power of Brainstorm.
Yep, and it's not like Blechman's going to run you out of the gym, most likely. His deck's a little on the slow side, too. So you got some interaction with the graveyard. You've got a counterspell. You got a Brainstorm to smooth it out. You know, not the most exciting hand by any means, but well above the line to keep.
And this is a Cabal Therapy. And yeah, got to take that Brainstorm.
Yep.
Head over to Michael Kidd now. Michael going to decide what land to play, which will be a Polluted Delta, and simply pass the turn back. We'll go over to Phil, who drew another copy of Cabal Therapy. See if he wants to go towards that, or if he'd like to go towards Baleful Strix instead. It'll actually be a copy of Deathrite Shaman, pass the turn back. Over to Kidd now. Does he have a removal spell for the powerful 1/2 Mana Elf? I'm sure he doesn't want to sacrifice that fetch land, but he will. Giving Deathrite Shaman a little bit of ammo there. Kidd going to decide what land he wants to search up. He'll go with a Volcanic. Nope. Yep. There we go. Looks like one of his cards got stuck. We solved that problem. Now there's land for the turn. And now here's Baleful Strix. He'll get to draw a card and also move that card in front of his lands, and then we'll pass the turn back. There it is. And Blechman will draw a Brainstorm. There will be a Brainstorm to start the turn for Phil. Looks like a Plains, Cabal Therapy, and a Force of Will. Maybe a few too many therapies this game.
Kidd's hand, I mean, the first therapy was very good, getting the Brainstorm out of his hand with a hand that's heavy on mana and not a lot going on. Past that, I mean, I don't really mind getting rid of the Nile Spellbomb in the spot. It is a cantrip, and it is something that really reduces the efficacy of your Deathrite Shaman.
It's definitely a card that matters. I will say that. Plains. And pass. There's the Spell Bomb. In comes the Strix. And that looks like that'll be it for Michael Kidd, who's got a couple cards face up on the table, and Red Elemental Blast and Swamp that Phil Blechman knows about, and then some in his hand as well that Phil does not know about. As Blechman will sacrifice a land. And he'll dig something out of his deck. He'll go with an Underground Sea. I think Legacy's most popular land.
Might be Volcanic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's very close between those two. C is probably a bit more popular.
Monastery Mentor, the draw. Is it time to put down the powerful 2/2? Blechman would like to remove that Polluted Delta. And it looks like Kidd is going to exile his graveyard, draw a card with Nile Spellbomb to deny Deathrite Shaman the right to do that. So now Phil will actually have to use his mana to play Monastery Mentor this turn if he wants to. It's a little bit interesting. Feels like he doesn't want to make this play, but he almost feels obligated to now.
Yeah, it's a little bit on the risky side. If he untaps, it gets very good for him. But you know, what's the worst case scenario you're fearful of here? Toxic Deluge. How many copies of that does he have?
Kidd's going to start with a Brainstorm. So he gets to pick up the Red Elemental Blast in the Swamp. Draw a couple of cards, of which I think he may have found some copies of Kolaghan's Command. He's got two in his main deck. I think he just picked up 2 copies. Don't know if he has another land to go along with it, but Kolaghan's Command would be pretty darn good right now.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
There is Misty. Sacrifice that. And there is Underground Sea. The follow-up. Fatal Push. With Revolt, of course, because of the fetch land. This is going to allow Michael to actually cast more cards. Here's Deathrite Shaman. Now there's an attack from 1 in the air. So a lot of stuff done that turn there for Michael Kidd. 3 spells in 1 turn, all 1 mana. So we head back over to Phil Blechman, who's drawn another copy of excuse me, not Monastery Mentors, actually a copy of Swords of Plowshares. Their artwork and altars look somewhat similar here for Phil's deck.
Really nice sequencing from Kidd there the last turn. Got to brainstorm, got to shuffle away the less efficient cards, got to kill the Monastery Mentor for 1 mana.
Here's Cabal Therapy. We'll see what that named. He named Red Elemental Blast. Missed.
That is awesome.
Yep.
Naming red and having the Pyroblast there.
That's why you diversify. That's an exact reason right there. You see the hand there, Abrupt Decay, Kolaghan's Command, Pyroblast, and Wasteland.
It's nice when the little things matter.
It is. It really is. The splits may seem minor in a situation like this, where every card matters. Pretty major. That Cabal Therapy ends up being a useless one. Now there's the Swords of Plowshares. It's going to take care of Deathrite Shaman. I think if you're Phil, you might want to get rid of that Kolaghan's Command, but he's not going to. So we're going to go over to Michael Kidd, who's going to start things off with a Baleful Strix attack. Wasteland will be the land for the turn. Wasteland's going to go after the Underground Sea. And Michael Kidd will just pass the turn back.
Now the shields are down for this Kolaghan's Command if he wants it.
Coast appears to be relatively clear. He's going to go with Abrupt Decay as opposed to Kolaghan's Command. Curious why he's waiting on that one.
On the Kolaghan's Command?
Yeah.
I'm guessing because Blechman's deck looks like something that could have Stoneforge Mystic. He may want to have a Shatter as cover.
Okay. There's an attack from
My
1.
initial instinct is, yeah, just go ahead and Kolaghan's Command it, right? But it is some protection against equipment, some stray artifact, maybe something like Crucible of Worlds, you know. Straining a little bit, but I don't mind leaving it as a little bit of protection here.
It is also a very powerful card.
Yep. He also may want a Gravedigger something somewhere down the line more than he wants to just make Blechman discard a random card.
Here's a Ponder. Kidd will keep him. Sack a Delta.
The risk there is, of course, that the Abrupt Decay is a much better answer to a Monastery Mentor than a Kolaghan's Command is, but I can respect fearing some artifact sneaking through.
And there's Liliana Lasto. This is a card here that you don't see a lot of copies of. You can't play a lot of copies of a card like this, as there's Force of Will. Pyroblast is going to take care of the Force of Will. Now Liliana's in, but Liliana, the Last Hope, really starting to tick up in popularity. It's a really, really nice card for these grindy matchups.
Yep. You really only have to get +1 card for it to be good on an economy front. A lot of people address these matchups with random 1-toughness creatures like Baleful Strix and Lingering Souls and such.
Phil Blechman's going to concede this game because he knows he is beat. Michael Kidd is going to win this match here over Phil Blechman. 2-0. 4-color control takes care of Esper Mentor. Pretty honestly, truth be told. And for Michael Kidd,